the head coach of Lipscomb Academy football in the great state of Tennessee, and Super Bowl champion, and one of my favorite people I've gotten to meet in my time in the NFL. On the Mercedes-Benz Vans phone line, our friend Trent Dilfer. How are you, Trent?
Rich, how we doing, buddy?
Better for talking to you, man. How's everything with you? How's everything?
Good. Getting ready for our quarterfinal matchup tonight.
Okay. Who we beating tonight, Trent? Who we beating?
A place called Silverdale out of Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Okay. Brockman, don't say that. Don't put him in that position. Come on, he's the head coach here. Don't
I'm trying to hype him up.
Okay, well, we're hyped up for you, man. We're hyped up for
Thank you. It'll be fun.
You're welcome. Well, thanks for taking the time on a game day to do this. How do you see Odell? Well, let's start the first thing. Why didn't Odell work in Cleveland? Best you can tell. Trent.
He was banged up part of the time. I think the offense isn't structured for a player like Odell.
How so? What do you mean by that?
And by the way, I'm not criticizing Stefanski. I actually think it's a pretty good way to play, to win on offense. For complementary football, a lot of times you have kind of dude-based offenses where you're going to get the dudes the ball no matter what. You're going to compromise some of your core values as a team, as an offense, just try to feed the hungry, right? And Odell's hungry. He wants to be fed all the time. And that works. Like if you're wide open, if you're going to throw it a lot, if you don't really care about getting the runners going, getting your offensive line going downhill, time of possession, metrics, things like that, that's a great way to play. Fans love it. It puts up points. A lot of old school coaches will tell you it's not a winning formula. Stefanski comes from kind of an old school lineage of offensive football. Theirs is more system based. It's more they're gonna dictate terms, the run game and the action game, and the perimeter guys are gonna fall into place based on how the defense plays you. So you're not drawing up ball plays to get the ball to receivers. You're drawing up ball plays to puncture the inside of the defense, get your second level to activate, get your tight ends, inside players in between the hashes of the ball. And then if the defense starts reacting to that, now you get the ball outside to your quote-unquote dudes.
Okay.
Again, one's not better than the other. It's just philosophical differences on how NFL coaches call offense. I think that's one of the reasons. I think Baker is a guy that needs to be system driven. He's a system quarterback, and that's not a knock either. There's very few that aren't system guys. There's very few that are transcendent, system transcendent. Baker is a system guy. He needs to play the position as much like Drew Brees as possible. Get the ball out of his hand in the passing game and take his shots in the action game. Again, you're not going to have a lot of volume to Odell when you do things like that. So I know these are esoteric, kind of long-winded answers, but that's the reality of the NFL that the fan doesn't understand, that you are all part of a system. And if you don't fit that system, you're not going to put up the numbers you would have in the system prior that you were in when you put up big numbers.
So then I'm mandated before moving on about what the system is with the Rams and how it works for Odell to ask you, for Browns fans, do you think that what Stefanski's bringing is what is the system that Baker needs? Do you think that's a fit?
With the Rams. Are you asking me what it's going to look like in the Rams?
No. Before we get to that, just lingering about the system you talked about with Stefanski and how Baker needs a system. Is this the right one for him, in your estimation?
Baker?
Yes, sir.
Yes, I think this is perfect for him, and I think Stefanski's very smart. He knows who he has. He's got a very, very high-quality starting quarterback in the NFL. He does not have a Superman. And when you don't have a Superman or a superhero, a la Holmes, Rodgers, Lamar, Kyler Murray, Russell Wilson, there's probably a couple others, then your system, you need to call plays and build everything you do around your quarterback because you're trying to enhance your quarterback with every play that you call. I think Stefanski's doing it perfectly. High-volume run game, action pass, efficiency in the passing game. They need to get better in critical situations, third down, red zone, end-of-game stuff. That comes with time for quarterbacks. I think he will naturally be better at that. The big argument to the way Stefanski plays, the way Mike Shanahan calls plays, the way Kyle Shanahan calls plays, Kubiak, you can go down that whole tree, is can you throw your team back into a game from a 2-score deficit? And that's really the counter punch to this style of offense. Is great. It sounds awesome. It works. It's tried and tested. But very rarely do you throw your team back from a 2-score deficit. And I get that. I mean, you look at these wide open offenses, we've never seen more two-score comebacks than we have in the last 5 years. A lot of it's because teams are moving away from this philosophy and playing more wide open.
All right, so then now let's move to Odell in McVay's system. Do you like it? What do you think? How's it going to work?
I like it, but I don't see big volume. I don't see Odell being a volume guy. I see him being a big play guy. I think it's a yards per reception metric if you're going to look at it from a number standpoint. Odell's not a burner, but he's an incredible deep threat. He's very fast. I'm not saying he's not fast, but his real gift is his ability to adjust to the ball while it's in the air. And this is something I'm always trying to teach people in football. Deep receivers is not speed, okay? There's a lot of fast guys. Now, you get a Tyreek Hill, that's different. I mean, that's beep roadrunner speed, right? But there's a lot of guys in that 4.4 to 4.55, really, really fast. And if somebody says 4.55 isn't fast, you go time the fastest guys on lasers, and most of them are going to be in the low 4.5s on a laser. So you're talking 4.4 to 4.55. That is real speed. That is NFL speed. Just because they run fast doesn't mean they're deep threats. A deep threat is a guy that can get to top speed quickly, but then adjust to the ball in the air. And think about just in the simplest form, if you caught a fly ball, right? If somebody hits you, you're out there with your kid, and you pop a ball up, and he's got all this, he's 12 years old, he has all this time to kind of get underneath the ball and judge it and the arc of it and get his feet underneath it and catch it. And then you just rip a line drive to your 12-year-old. Well, he's not going to have time to adjust to it, right? He's going to, whoa, that thing's going to go right by him, or unless you rip it perfectly like you probably would, he just puts his glove up and catches it.
Thank you.
So a deep threat receiver is a guy who can do both. He's a guy that can catch a fast tempo ball down the field and adjust to a lobby ball, a 45-yard or 55-yard sideline post. And while that ball's there, and please watch this, fan, because TV is so good now, and you get these great replays, especially the all-22s. Watch the angle they start at, and then as they're tracking the ball, watch how they can maintain top speed and then adjust their bodies and adjust their angles to the ball, adjust their eyes, time up their hands, time up their feet, all these different things that it takes to be a great deep ball receiver. It's more than just speed. Odell is phenomenal at this. He adjusts to a ball, any tempo of a ball, as well as anybody I evaluated when he came out. That doesn't go away. He's going to be a massive deep threat. I still think Kupp's going to be the volume guy. They still need to run the football. Woods is more your space guy, more your hybrid. Van Jefferson's a good player, but I think it gives Van Jefferson a chance to kind of develop a little bit more. But I think Odell's going to be a guy. You're not going to see him catching a ton of hitches. I think you're going to see slants to score and big balls.
Trent Dilfer here on the Rich Eisen Show after Week 10 begins on Thursday Night Football. Again, you're kind of my Tua whisperer. I know you've been around the kid forever. We've been talking about him for years. What do you think? Are the Dolphins handling him properly? I know that's a loaded question potentially, but I want to ask it because it just seems, with kicking tires on Deshaun Watson twice, preseason, midseason, owner meeting him, doesn't start, banged up finger, comes in, wins a game. What does it all mean? Do you think they're handling him properly in Miami?
Yeah, I don't have a problem with it. I mean, listen, Deshaun Watson, aside from the legal stuff, and I think that's been well documented if you can get those things settled, I think there's 20 teams that are kicking the tires or wanted to kick the tires on Deshaun. I mean, he's a generational talent. He's one of the best. What he was playing is one of the best players in the league. He was up for the MVP in discussion early last year. I mean, he's a guy that everybody wants. Let's take the Deshaun thing out of it. Yeah, I kind of like how they're handling. The best move they made as an organization was bringing Charlie Fry into their coaching staff. Charlie Fry is one of the great young football minds in all of football. He has really been the glue of that offense that's got all that cool stuff they were talking about last night. So I watched more of the Thursday night game last night than I'm watching any Thursday night game. And I was like, wow, they're doing some cool stuff on offense, even in the run game, because they're not very good running the football, but they're trying to find ways to find creases in the run game. And you could hear Troy start to say, man, some of this stuff's pretty cool. Well, that's pretty creative. Oh, look what they did here. Then they run the cool little trick play. And, they're doing some stuff offensively that is pretty creative and pretty fun to watch. They're just not great, right? They got, 27 tight ends and Waddle. And you don't even know the running backs' names. I mean, they don't have a ton of offensive weaponry to deal with. So they're scratching and clawing, trying to be the best offense they can be, and they want Tua to play efficiently. And he played efficiently with a bad finger. He made some big plays in the fourth quarter, pushed the ball down the field, I think, as much as he can right now. You can definitely see that there's a lack of horsepower right now with the finger, and then it got banged up again. But, yeah, I like how they're handling them. They're trying to salvage this season. They're building an identity of defense, special teams, and an efficient offense. They're not going to be explosive this year, maybe not next year, but maybe in a couple years as they start drafting more towards offense. They got Gesicki, Waddle. They need a couple more, and I think they can be a pretty darn good offense.
Do you think Tua is going to be there? Do you think it's his future?
I mean, again, at this point, things have gone so weird with the Deshaun situation. I don't know. I mean, I know they like him. Internally, they like him a lot. Do they love him? Are they dating him or are they married to him? And that's the question we're going to have for all these young quarterbacks as they hit their third year, fourth year. Are you dating them? Are they the hot blonde that kind of, you don't really mesh personality-wise, but you want to take her on a date? Or are they your wife like mine of 29 years that's hot and smart and a great mom and all this stuff, And I'm like, I'm married. Like, please don't leave me.
Right. Right.
That's how these organizations talk about their quarterbacks. Are they Cassandra Dilfer, who's a 10 in every which way? We want to marry this. We're going to pay you as much as we can. We're going to build an organization around you. Please don't leave me. Or are they the hot blonde that you're like, she's cute. Nice Instagram picture. Fun movie. Went to a nice dinner. But we have nothing in common. So if she moves on, that's fine. I think that's kind of, to dumb it down to its simplest form, that's the conversation within organizations.
And so Charlie Fry's great mind, was that his design screen pass to the right guard?
I don't know. I don't want to. God sees a good coach. They have other good coaches. I know that Charlie and Tua are very connected.
Yeah.
I know that most of this creativity, and you can just see it when you look at trends. When you start seeing jet motions and zone reads and RPOs and unique trick plays and specials, that has Charlie Fry written all over it. But I'm sure it's collective. Within the offensive staff, they kind of do it like Jim Harbaugh does it at Michigan. Like some coaches do it, where it's a collective effort offensively. There may be a guy with the coordinator title, but they're all kind of piecing it together. But you definitely, I've known Charlie forever. I played with him. I brought him into the 11. Groomed him. You can see his offensive. In fact, you can go to Central Michigan, pull off plays when he was the coordinator, and you saw him last night for the Dolphins. And they worked. Remember when they ran that fake run play, tight end coming across the formation, hit him in the flat. This fly motion where they got the guy down the sideline because Baltimore wasn't adjusting to the fly motion, and they got the receiver down the left sideline. Like, those are all things he's been doing for years. He's very, very, very creative in the run RPO action game.
Now, I wasn't trying to drag you into another problem in South Florida for the coaching staff, Trent. I was making a cute reference to the Robert Hunt right guard.
One. That was fantastic. How athletic is that kid, man? I mean,
have you ever seen anything like that? Like, he was turned. Like, he looked like he was the eligible receiver, and poor Gaskin could have gotten it. I've never seen anything like it my entire life, Trent.
It's so funny because it happens in practice all the time.
Does it really?
When you're a slow screen team, and that's that play is it's a slow screen. Every team in the NFL has a version of it. Any old school coaching staff has a slow screen. A lot of the new staffs have the fast screens, but any slow screen where you're releasing guard, center, tackles, pass protecting, trying to get the end to go by them, they come out together, and the way you teach it is guard, center come out, and you're almost hip to hip, and you want to get to the railroad tracks, and then you want to get vertical. Well, every time in practice, whenever there's a stunt or something happens on the defense line, the guard or the center gets kind of kicked back, and the quarterback, if he's not experienced, he's just going to throw it to a spot, and you see it hit the guard in the helmet, you see it hit him in the chest. The guard's not flat enough. I mean, slow screens are hard to execute at a high level. Now, I've never seen a guard go out, get kicked backwards, and turn around like, well, I'll just catch the ball. I'm not necessarily to the railroad track, so I'll just catch the ball, and then I'll go run with the ball. I mean, that was crazy. It's almost as if he told his buddies, hey, if I get held up getting out on the screen, I'm just going to catch the sucker and run.
And get cartwheel and reach out for the goal. He's living his best life, man. I love that. Hey, last one for you. This one's a little personal, Trent. The Jets. who is Mike White? What is Mike White? And is it entirely possible that he's the answer and not Zach Wilson? You're hearing now, like, hey, Robert Saleh's like, he isn't it's not awkward, it's awesome. It's basically what he's saying right now. What do you think from afar there?
I've been actually thinking about this one a lot.
Okay.
Because I saw White play at Western Kentucky, and I thought he was pretty good. I really thought he was pretty good. Now, he didn't really fit where the NFL was going. Zach fits where the NFL is going with a highly athletic, kind of creative, artistic quarterback. Mike's he's a good athlete, but he's your traditional, just kind of like sit in the pocket, rip fire, chunk yardage plays, make quick decisions, that kind of guy. And I thought of Heath Schuler, Gus Frerotte, and I was drafted that same year. So Heath went number 3 to the Redskins. I went 6 to Tampa, and then Gus went in the 7th round to the Redskins. And I was in that draft. I'm like, Gus is as good as Heath and I. Like, I saw Gus play in college. I'm like, why is he going in the 7th round? Mm-hmm. Like, he's every bit as good as Heath and I. He just didn't have this glamorous college career. And I'm kind of thinking this could end up, if Mike plays well in the Big Apple and Jets loyalists like you start jumping on the bandwagon, which you should, right? If the guy plays well, he gets an opportunity,
right,
and he's winning games, you should be all over it. Why can't this be Gus Frerotte, Heath Schuler, and we don't hear about Zach Wilson? He plays a few years in the NFL, and then he's off in the sunset. Mike White's the quarterback. It's very possible. I mean, you teach these quarterbacks from the time they're 14 years old. Control what you can control, and then when you get an opportunity, you make the most of it. And Mike White's the poster boy for getting an opportunity here and making the most of it.
Well, the problem is, though, is that the Jets don't need – I mean, Gus Frerotte, God bless him, he had a nice run, and he's more known for hitting his head and, hurting his neck, in celebration, to be honest with you, Trent. Like, Jets need the generational talent. They need the guy that you're talking about, Mahomes, that sort of thing. Like, that's what the Jets hope to have in Zach Wilson, and now here comes Mike White. Is that a problem? I guess and Saleh's saying it's not awkward, it's awesome. Do you agree with that?
Okay, could be this way too. I'll give you another. Gus Frerotte was just talking about like the late rounder, or the guy nobody knew of becoming the guy because he became the guy in the Redskins. Mm-hmm. To answer your question about you need the generational talent, this is why I don't think you play him right away. I'm a total outlier here. I know I'm like one person that still thinks sit him, but I look at 2 of the generational talents right now, Aaron Rodgers and Patrick Mahomes, and they both sat. And Zach Wilson never should have started. He never should be playing right away. I mean, and I said this in the draft. If you go back to the BYU stuff, he does amazing flash and sizzle stuff. You cannot argue with the talent. It was jaw-dropping at times, and it was equally jaw-dropping when he passed open hundreds of wide receivers that were wide-ass open, standing right in front of him to go do something spectacular. And the same exact thing happened when he started playing for the Jets, is he's passing up these open players to go try to do something better, and maybe he needs to sit for a year and watch Mike White just run the offense, execute, play at a high level, make a play here and there, and go, oh, that's how Tom Brady's played for 48 years and won 12 Super Bowls. He just plays the position like a professional. And until Zach Wilson learns to play the position like a professional, which a lot of us don't really ever figure out. I'll be one of them. It took me till my body was broken to figure out how to play it like a professional. But until you learn how to play it like a professional, you're not going to be consistent. And consistency is what is great in the NFL, not flash and sizzle. The flash and sizzle comes out if you're special 4 to 8 times a game. If you're not special, 2 to 4 times a game.
You are the best, Trent Dilfer. Love you. Best to your wife. Good luck tonight. Let's do this again.
Appreciate you, Rich. Anytime.
Right back at you. That's Trent Dilfer at Dilfer's Dimes. Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.